Hey everybody, it's me, Parsa. Today we're here with another episode of Hallmark Hits, and we're joined by.
Hello, my name is Leslie Zacarias. I'm from Beta Delta Omicron in Texas, the biggest state. And then, yeah, a little bit about me is I grew up here, lived here all my life, and I have a dog, as some of you may have seen. But yeah.
So, Leslie, it's nice to meet you. We've exchanged messages over Instagram for the last few days, so it's been nice to get to know you. And today we're going to start off by talking about music, of course. So, the question I've been asking everyone is, what album have you had on repeat lately?
Okay, so I've actually been listening to Mainskin, and if I remember correctly, I forgot the album, but I've been listening to what is it? Their Rush album, released in 2023. I don't know why. It just gives me like if I'm doing something, I like if I listen to like that kind of style of music, I can do it for longer. So that's just what I've been listening to the most.
You said what type of music is it?
It's like rock music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like heavy rock, metal rock.
Um, it depends on like what song, I guess, or what
Oh,
album you're listening to.
okay, I got you. Um, who's your favorite artist? I just want to ask that. You have top three
Um,
artists?
I have a couple. I think I listen to bands more often, but I think solo artist probably Bruno Mars.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Bruno Mars. What's your favorite Bruno Mars song?
I like his, let me think. I think I really like Talking to the Moon. I think that's kind of been in my top rotation for like a couple years now, since probably middle school. Um, so I don't know, I just really like his songs because they have a lot of like emotion, very good lyricism. And then his newer songs are very upbeat. So I really, that's what I enjoy the most.
Bruno Mars is awesome. I, my favorite song for the longest time by Bruno Mars was Runaway Baby. And
Oh
then,
yeah.
and then, Talking to Moon, I heard it. We were doing like a carpool with my friends going to a fair, and we played Talking to the Moon, and that was pretty recently, I guess. And the production on that song is literally beautiful. I love the production on that song. And then I did research on who engineered the song too. He's one of the most famous engineers
Mhm.
that actually worked on that song. So, Bruno Mars, legend. That album is insane. That whole album is like it's just a whole list of hits. It's
Mhm.
crazy. So respect for that. And let me think. Do you remember what the first Bruno Mars song you heard was?
24 karat gold. I think that came out when I was like in elementary school. And then our teacher put on the kids pop version of the song.
Oh my God.
Um, and then I actually listened to the song. And then yeah, so I think that was like my Bruno Mars awakening.
I'm pretty sure it was literally the same thing for me. I think I would actually listen to the Kids Bop version for a little bit, and then I grew up.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, I should probably listen to the real, the real version.
And I really like the music video. When I was a kid, I just loved watching music videos.
Hmm.
Um, and I think his was, I really liked his.
I got you. Do you have a favorite music video?
Not recently. I haven't watched any now. Um, when I was a kid, probably like something Katy Perry, I think, around that realm. Oh, it was, what was it? I think it was like that song where it's like the part, like, this is the part of me. I don't know what it was called, but I
Hmm.
think that music video, because I think she like cut her hair and like went to like the military.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting. No, I don't think maybe when I heard the song, I'll know it. But
Yeah, I forgot the name though.
oh, okay. The only, the main Katy Perry song that comes to mind is just Firework. Sing that in
Hmm.
Madagascar 3, I believe, and then seeing the music video. I don't think the
Yeah.
video was kind of low-key weird, but like, I mean, just interesting.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's a great song. Um, okay. Let me ask you one more music question. Let me see what I got. I'm gonna find something that. I haven't asked someone maybe. Actually, let's talk about the song you chose for
Oh yeah.
song that makes you or go to a hype song that makes you feel unstoppable.
Yeah. I picked the Sing version. Um, I don't know. I just think like the way the characters like I know covers of songs is one thing, but the way like a character from a movie or show sings a certain song can change the meaning of the song entirely and also add like context to the song. So like for example, um if we're talking about like how I think what was his name? Johnny, the gorilla. Yeah, so we're talking about Johnny who has a weird relationship with his family and his dad, and he's singing a song outside of that romantic context. Um, it really did relate more to me than the John Legend version.
Hmm. That's awesome. And for those of you that don't know, we were talking about it, and I actually that was the song I was going to choose, and I was debating versus Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield, and I ended up choosing Unwritten because I just listened to that more in the gym, and then I'm Still Standing. I didn't listen to it as much as I listened to Unwritten, but I definitely agree that I wanted to go rewatch the movie after uh searching up the scene on YouTube. When I searched up the
Yeah,
scene on YouTube, I was just watching the I'm Still Standing moment. I'm like, I get
mhm,
goosebumps every time watching that. It's so good.
yeah. I
And
think I was debating that. I was debating with "It's On Again" by
mm,
Alicia Keys, and "I'm Still Standing" as we mentioned.
mm,
And I think the with "It's On Again," it's not very like upbeat. So I think that was my main thing was like this song fits more with the question than the other song.
mm.
Although I do like that song because of Spider-Man. That one just again like it's more upbeat, it's more I guess happier than It's On Again, but that's why I went with it.
So what Spider-Man movie is that from again? Do you know?
I think it's the second Spider-Man, like the Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so do you find that
I
song from
think
the movie? I know, I think you're right. I think you're right. Did you find the song from the movie or did you like the other way
it was
around?
the playlist, the like
Oh, okay.
movie playlist.
Hmm. You're listening to that?
That's where I remember hearing it. I don't remember it was in the movie, but I remember I found it, liked it from the playlist.
Gotcha. So do you like the Spider-Man movies?
Yeah, I typically, okay, so sometimes if I don't know what to listen to, I'll look up like a character or a movie. So like I'll, for example, like Peter Parker playlist and it'll be on there. I did that with like, I mainly do that with like, I guess comic book characters because I'm into comics.
Hmm.
So it just kind of like if you want to vibe, I look up like just whoever and then playlist on Spotify.
That's so interesting. I never heard anyone doing that.
No, yeah, I used to do it all the time on YouTube.
Huh. I might need to try that. That's so cool.
Yeah, I
What's
recommend.
what's like the most interesting character you've like searched up, like music or
I
someone
think
that like when you search up their playlist, it gave you like a bunch of bangers.
okay, honestly, I do think you do have to go searching because sometimes people put like the same songs on
Hmm.
a playlist. And but mm, I think Batman has very interesting songs
Mm.
when you look up
Like
Batman.
what I imagine when I hear like if I imagine what I imagine Batman's playlist is Nirvana, I feel like.
Right. Like I'm like I feel like it's just some like emo stuff. Like um so when I like look, I'm like, oh, I'm surprised.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So you just mentioned comics. So you're a big comic fan?
Mhm.
Talk
You
more about
haven't
that.
um I just well, I really like superhero movies and I like doing like going into the lore. Um, so I think I did like what was the last? I watched like a top powerful heroes and or like characters in the Marvel universe. And
Mhm.
then that's when I found out about like what was his I don't even know his name. Um the kid, the baby from the Fantastic Four movie. And so knowing those things, like knowing the background context helps you actually like with the movie of like, okay, why is this baby so important? Like, why does this giant celestial being have such a fascination with this baby, right? This newborn. And then it's just, I think the graphics, the pictures, the storylines, they're very personal, especially like in the time that they're written. They're very ahead of their time, if that makes sense. You have a lot of characters, like especially with like um minority characters, it's like those are very personal, because of the realities that they lived in. And in this, like I think my favorite was when there's like this 9/11 comic,
Hmm.
um, and it had literally super villains
Hmm.
helping civilians, right?
Hmm.
So it's like you again, like this is so it kind of reflected the reality of the time of when 9/11 happened, where it was like such a shock and everything was at a standstill, right? And then in the comics, it's like even people who you would never expect are doing something, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I just think it's how that kind of mirroring our society is great. Although there are a lot of problematic things in comics, and I just ignore that.
I see. So, uh, I think I'll start off with this question is DC or Marvel?
DC.
Okay.
Sorry guys, don't cancel me.
Yeah, you have reasoning behind that?
Um, I just have liked it more. I feel like although the movies aren't on the same level, I think the stories are a lot better.
Hmm.
Um, Especially like I always like Batman growing up. I think that was definitely my top superhero.
Yeah.
And then since that, I kind of like Blue Beetle because we're the same race
Hmm.
and just that he's this kid who got this power. And then recently I went to go watch the Superman movie.
Hmm.
That movie was so good. I was like, oh my gosh. Um, and again, like it just these are characters that are very complex and they're just so great. I love it.
I like that. So I was going to ask you your favorite superhero, but it's Batman?
I would say Blue Beetle.
Oh, Blue Beetle? Okay, okay, okay.
Mhm.
And I want to mention about that Superman movie. Man, I watched that movie, and like a lot of new movies nowadays, I don't really be watching new movies too
Mhm.
often. I just go back and watch movies that I didn't watch growing up or just older movies. But that Superman movie was like one of the best new movies I've ever seen because it was so
Yeah.
unique. They had so many crazy camera angles. I mean, that was genuinely crazy. I was like, wow, I never seen a movie like this. And
Mhm.
I think the movie industry just needs more innovation and stuff like
I
that.
it did give me hope for the movie industry.
Yeah.
I think in recent years, I would go see movies and I'm like, "Ah, this sucks. Like the writing is terrible. But I think now that the writing strike is over, we're getting those movies where it's like, yeah, this has the personal touch, and the real touch, right? So I think like with movies like Superman, it really shows like, oh, what great writing can do. Um, and it was just so beautiful. It was very complex. And then again, like Superman is like like and again also like in the time, it wasn't as bad when the movie came out, but in what we're living in right now, it really does show a lot in like how someone like even like in his context, it's like he can do everything right. He's saving as many people as he can, right? But no matter what he does, there's still going to be people that hate him, that want him gone, dead even. And it's like, but he's just has to keep moving forward, and he is moving forward. So I was like, wow, I wasn't familiar with your game.
I love that. And that reminds me of the quote. Well, when you mentioned, there might be people that don't like you regardless, even if you're like the best person ever. Reminds me of the quote is dang, I forgot the quote. It was like I think the person that said was Robert Kennedy. I feel like that's the name of the person. Oh, you know history better than me, so is that a real person? But it's like if you don't have I mean, just put it basically, it's like if you don't have haters, you're not going anywhere, you know?
Mhm.
So I try to keep that in mind, you know, if someone doesn't like me, well, I'm like, well, I have to have at least like one hater. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
You know? And oh yeah, so speaking about that, tell the people you're a history major.
Yeah. I'm a history major. I actually, so going into college, I knew I wanted to go into education. I just didn't know what subject, I guess. I was experimenting with mathematics. I was really good at math. Um, and then I was like, you know what? I actually don't want to do all that, especially like all the classes I need to take. And then I honestly just throughout the years have grown to love history more and more. I even like in my, I think it was my senior year, I was a library aide, and then um, I we were getting rid of a whole bunch of books, and so my job was to like mark out all the stamps and then restamp it, and then and then she was like, "Oh, you guys can take some books if you want. Like, we're not going to use them." So, mind you, I grabbed like all the history books I could. It was like I had like a box just full of books,
Hmm.
and I couldn't even tell you, but I think I should have known then that I was probably going to go into history. Would have saved me so much time.
I got you. So do you like reading?
Yeah. I haven't read as much as I wanted to. I do try to. I know like with all the clubs and stuff I'm in, it's harder to sit down and read, but I think I kind of just have to set the time to do so.
Hmm. I definitely agree. I feel on that. Did you grow up reading?
Actually, okay, I did not like reading. Um, so I was very dyslexic,
Mm-hmm.
very. Um, Reading was kind of like it's kind of how do I say this? I would read something and then as I'm reading, the information that I had just read would like leave my brain. So it's like I'm reading this passage and I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what that's called, but like so I just didn't really understand the point of reading. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think starting out with like those like comic books and stuff because you can visually see things. Um, it helped with that understanding. And then also audiobooks help a lot. Um, I think that was kind of like a newer thing to me. Like I know like when I was in elementary, that wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so reading while like I think I kind of just have to be immersed in the story. So like I either listen to it and then I read it like physically
Mm-hmm.
and it helps me understand more. Um, but yeah, I think I've definitely gotten well, yeah, I've definitely gotten better. It's just that when I was a kid, I hated reading, hated going to the library. I would check out books and then not read them. Like I would just like look at them. Um, so and I'm definitely proud of that change.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I feel you on that. I didn't read much growing up. I mean, I know, I read a little bit of Magic Tree House. I Survived. Those are like the two books I grew up reading in elementary, but middle school and stuff. You know, same here. I would read something and then it would escape my
Yeah.
mind, and then I would get distracted and then I have to reread the thing again, and then it's like go.
Mhm.
It's like
It took me a while to realize that you just have to find the book that you want to read.
yeah.
I think so like I remember I think it's like my middle school teacher, she gave me a book and I think it was called what was it? It was like about this little boy and he was saving up money to buy like these hunting dogs or like to buy these dogs to go hunting with.
Hmm.
Um and then it was one girl and one guy. And the girl, it's Where the Red Fern Grows. That's what it was called.
Yeah, that's
And
literally
then
I think that's the book. I
yeah.
think too.
And it was like the girl, she was like really smart, and then the boy dog was like really strong. And then spoiler, it was a really sad ending. But I really liked it. It was a really good book, especially for the time that I read it in. And that kind of just helped me realize like, oh, this is something I can actually get into and not just be forced to read.
So was that like a sign reading?
Well, we would read like I think it was like the first 10 minutes of class.
Hmm.
Um, and it could be any book, but
Oh,
that's pretty much, yeah.
and then like you found the book in the classroom type thing, or
Or she like let me borrow it.
oh, okay, I see.
Mhm.
That reminds me of the book that had similar effect on me that made me want to read more and realize, oh, I can actually read. And it was in a no, it was junior year of high school, my AP language class, where we read this book called Into the Wild by John Crocker. And that book is so good. I hadn't read a book really fully in a long time, but when I read that book, I mean, I actually read it. And it's a really good book. I would recommend it to anyone. Uh, And it's kind of about how this guy went to Alaska and or he traveled on foot from it was like Georgia, and then like from a prestigious university, and he just traveled on foot, looking at the world and taking that journey by himself and learning more about himself. And I think it's more about nature, and I love nature. And at the time, I was taking like walks in nature every day to clear my mind and just getting steps in. So I think that's why it resonated with me even more back then, which I wish I would do that now, but I live in dorms now versus where my
Mhm.
house was, which there was a nature trail that I can just walk on easily, but not anymore. So I, I like that. I mean, I think it's good that there's some books that will inspire you to read even more.
Mhm.
So now I wanted to talk about, I think this is the last thing I'll ask talk about, and then go into hallmarks. Your space theme. You want to talk about space?
I mean, it's very complex,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, um, you can look at space in like different ways. I think it really reflects how, um, as humans, we're always looking for that next thing, right? So first it's, oh, finding like another island, more sea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we find the land within that sea? And it's once we explore all the land we have on Earth, well, there's this rock in the sky. Let's try to get to the moon. And then, oh, we got to the moon, if you believe that or not. Let's try to go to Mars, right? That's the next thing. So it's like, as humans, we're always venturing for that next step and exploring and even like knowledge, right? Like my field, it's very extensive. Space is very extensive. No matter how much I think I know, there's so much more I don't know. And so with space is like there's only so much we can see. There's so much we're not seeing. And we're trying to get to the part that we're not seeing. So it's kind of like all those things. Um, and then space is whatever you want it to be, right? And I always I always found it fascinating. My favorite storybook when I was a kid is about this, it's called The Little Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing was he was like traveling around. Um, and again, like the star theme. So I think that um, it really is a big part of who I am in that sense. That's why I picked it. And I do have there is a common phrase that I have a problem with. It's called shoot, shoot for the stars and you'll land, or like, yeah, it was like shoot for the moon and you'll land amongst the stars or something. I think that's how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had a problem with it because the stars are after the moon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so for me, it's like shoot for the stars, right? And even if you land on the moon, that's not that bad either. The moon is a really good place. Very pretty. So I just think, and also I'm a very logistical person. I know you know a lot about that. Um, and space is very logistical. So it's my theme is very complex. You can look at it however you want to look at it.
I got you. So you said the moon is a very nice place. Have you ever been there?
I've seen it. I've seen pictures.
Okay, okay. and you can just tell it's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Would you ever go there?
if I could.
Okay. What about Mars?
Probably not.
Oh,
Not
why?
my bad.
Why?
I just feel like everyone wants to go to Mars.
Oh, so you want to be cooler and go to the moon?
No, have you? Okay, so um, in the DC comics, there's a character from Mars, and
Okay.
there's like these weird aliens there.
Oh, yeah. Don't want to run into aliens, do you?
No, not violent ones.
Yeah. So I think that's all for those types of questions. Let me see. Maybe actually I could ask for another music question. Mm, hmm. I haven't asked this one yet, but I'll ask you.
Okay.
If your life were an album, what would it be called?
If my life were an album, what would it be called? Mm, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I have no idea. Honestly,
Okay.
probably like it'll be,
It's a challenging question.
yeah. Um, I'll come back to you.
Okay, okay.
I think it's interesting. I have a harder time with the more personality questions.
I got you. I got you. You know, if I got that question, I'd probably be in the same boat as you. I'd be like,
Mhm.
I really can't answer that. I think
Yeah.
Samuel asked me a question that I was like, I don't know. I was
Mhm.
definitely stumped. I was like, I really don't know how to answer this. I think I eventually answered it, but all right. Now we'll move along to scholarship questions.
Okay.
So, what class challenged you the most?
Philosophy,
Hmm.
in the sense that there was a lot of material, a lot of reading, a lot of studying. Um, I'm glad I didn't take that my freshman year because I probably would have failed.
Mhm.
Um, and then the thing that messed me up the most was I think it was my final. I was jotting down all my answers on the Scantron, and then I realized that I had missed filled them in, and so I had to go back and fix that. And that was very stressful. So I think I loved philosophy actually. Um, I remember we had like this animal farm simulator in
Ooh.
the sense that it was like before we were going into the concept of communism, we simulated a communist society. At the time, we weren't aware that it was a communist society. And not to toot my own horn, but I destroyed that communist government in like 5 minutes. But um, and so she had like the way it worked is that that our professor was like she had a little jar of candy and the candy was like our income. I stole that so fast and then my group gave it back because they didn't realize we that was like the whole point was to steal the income, right? Because if she has no power, then she's not in control.
Mm.
So we gave her back the power by giving her back the jar. And then luckily I framed it on my friend because
Uh,
she was the police that helped me get it. And then she got thrown in jail. Um, but I could have had that over with the second class started.
yeah. Dang. That sounds like a fun activity.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Okay. So, philosophy. What's the most interesting class you've taken?
Interesting.
Yeah. Or what has taught you the most? Yeah,
I
what
would say my world civilizations. Um, it's it's not just focusing on like, I guess, America. It's just focusing on different aspects of the Western and Eastern world.
Mm,
I know right now we went over cannabis, um, and hemp, marijuana, all that stuff. and its effects on society and how society have viewed them, especially in early, like in the time that we're studying, it was used for rope for the Western civilization, but for the Eastern civilization, it was much different. And then the concept of, well, what is the difference between hemp and marijuana? Are they the same thing? Are they different plants that are used differently? They're viewed much differently? Um, and it just kind of, I like how it has you think, right? So it's like, okay, well, what is the problem? Like, why is it that society views one as bad and the other as healing? Um, so I thought that was an interesting concept.
Hmm. That is interesting. That reminds me of a question I wrote down. What's your, it's still on topic. What's your favorite historical period?
Um, I think I don't know if it's my favorite. So I think I might have to do, I guess, pick between my top two.
Correct.
So one is like um pre-con like I guess when when like the Americas were first discovered, or not first discovered, but when people were first coming to the Americas, America was just getting, or the United States was just getting built.
Hmm.
And the relationship between the Europe or like the European descents and the Native Americans. Um, I actually found this out. So Robert E. Lee, he is actually I think he's like he's George Washington's grandson-in-law.
What?
Something like that. I thought that was crazy.
That is,
Um, and then the civil rights
okay.
era, that was very that had a lot going on. I'm a very big fan of Malcolm X. I think my favorite book is actually the autobiography of Malcolm X. Just because I mean, he had a point. I mean, he even said like they're gonna paint me as violent. They're gonna paint me as the one that told you to kill your neighbor or whatever. Um, that I'm this racist guy towards white people, and and he was right. Um, he's he reminded he had my favorite speech was "Who taught you to hate yourself?" Where he talked about a lot of things, but he talked about who taught you to hate the texture of your hair, who taught you to hate the color of your skin so much that you bleach it. He was very for Black people loving who they were, right? Um, and I think that when you have lived in a society that has constantly failed you, a government that has taken everything from you, it's okay to be mad about it, right? It's okay to criticize what has happened in your life and what has happened in other people's life. Um, so I just think he's very like he serves as a reminder of we have to push forward, even if there are people that don't like what they see when they look at you.
Hmm.
Uh, so probably, yeah.
That's a great answer. I mean, I love the message that he's trying to portray, and I think it's important to remember it, you know? So
Mhm.
my next question is, I want to ask another scholarship question. Um, oh, actually, I want to ask you this one. How do you balance your life, especially with all the extracurriculars you're in?
I don't. Um, actually, so it is very hard. There are times where I kind of let things, there were times where I would let a lot go. Um, it took me a while to realize that I was putting so much of my time and energy into school and work, which is at school. I was putting so much time into that I would kind of let myself go in the sense of like my room was an absolute mess. Um, like it was bad. Like it was so bad. Um, I was I wasn't doing anything for myself. I wasn't going out. I was only focused on school and my extracurriculars and work. that was pretty much what my life revolved around. When people were like, "Oh, do you have any hobbies?" Honestly, could not answer because my hobby was school. Um, and then I was like, okay, this isn't healthy. I actually need to do something that's for myself. Um, so I think one thing was having to sacrifice some things where it's like, um, I left the position I was at, and I transferred to a different department, because I love my boss and I still visit her all the time. But I felt like because our office or like the full-time staff were understaffed, um, they didn't put a lot of like attention to the student workers. So I felt like I was doing a lot more than I should have, and the other workers weren't doing as much as they should have. And so I was like, okay, I can't live in this anymore. Um, I'm gonna go move to this other department because it won't be as hectic as whatever's going on here. And I also think that because I end up doing a lot of stuff, it led me to like it kind of, I guess, hindered the development of my coworkers, right? So it was a big decision. So I guess leaving that kind of helped me. It's kind of finding like what's taking up, I guess, the most energy and trying to lessen that. Um, Life has definitely gotten a lot better, a lot easier now, since I left, but it's still cool. I still visit. Um,
Awesome. That's a, I mean, I should probably take some advice from you because my life, I mean, it's basically what you were describing before. All I do is school, and then I don't take enough time for myself. But the thing is, I love it. I mean, I love all the things I do at my school. I love my school. I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't. But I mean, I just love doing things I do. Sometimes, obviously it gets tiring, but the other things I do, I got the music and the school. That's really all I care about. I don't really need anything else. And there's nothing that's mm, more fun to me, I believe. This is what I love, and it's kind of the life I dreamed of. Uh,
mhm,
a little bit more time to myself to go to the gym. That's probably be the best thing to do for me. But besides that, I'm happy. And
mhm.
but I think I should. I've been trying to take more time for myself. Trying to watch at least like one movie per weekend when I have time, just to do something that's not, just doing everything. So,
Mhm.
do you have advice for me? Do you think I should do like? You think I should do
I
something?
don't know. I think also I know like my phone was a big problem,
Mm,
um, especially like doom scrolling. Um, Now I don't really go on my phone like that, and my friends are kind of bugging me for it in terms of like keeping our TikTok streak. Because they'll be like 11 and I still haven't sent them a TikTok. But I don't know. I think trying to fill those times, like I know, like for me, I do everything I need to do for school at school, and then at home I do what I need to do
mm,
for home.
yeah, that makes sense. I think I think Taylor was talking. No, I actually might be Samuel. One of them was
Mhm.
talking about how they try to do the PTK stuff, or they try to intertwine the both of them, like the school and PTK stuff together. So he does both of them like finish them both in the same time.
Mhm.
Something of that sort. So I thought that
Yeah.
was very interesting, and I think
Yeah.
that's an interesting perspective too. Right? I think it's how you should do it. That makes sense. Doing all the things.
Yeah. I know like it just wasn't healthy when I was spending 6 weekdays out of the 7 in the week just to be at school, whether it was work or class.
Oh wow.
Um, it it's those things where it's like you have to make yourself a priority.
Hmm. Yeah. So another question I'll ask for you. Hmm. I haven't asked this question yet, I believe, but I want to ask you, what's one resource on your campus people don't use enough?
The food pantry.
Mm.
Um, I have a lot of people say like, oh, they don't want to take from people that need it. Um, but the thing about our food pantry is even if you don't need to, you are helping us a lot by going. Because the way it works is the more people come, the more we get, right? So if we don't get a lot of people coming, then we won't get as much as maybe people need. And also like with our campus location, we're in a dead zone. So it's like a certain radius where there's not a grocery store, right? Or like food. So that's something that's very important for our campus location, especially since a lot of our students don't drive and don't drive themselves. Um, so I think that more people need to go to this. Everybody on campus needs to go to the food pantry.
That's cool. I think that's interesting. We got a food pantry as well. But I feel like for me, we have a career closet or like a
Mhm.
business attire closet where there's a bunch of, suits, ties, shoes, everything that you need to do an interview or some sort of business event. And I feel like it's underutilized because we have two campuses. One of the closets are like way bigger than the other one's, relatively good. But I feel like that, and you can just go there, and I think they say the most you can take is like three. So, but I think you can take more. I mean, if you're going there, like consistent if you want. And I think that's something that people on my campus should be using more for sure, because there's just so much clothes in there. I need to use that more,
Mhm.
because I don't have like a million suits. So,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great idea for people that, don't want to have or like grew out of the size of a suit. They can just go give that and donated that to the campus.
Mhm.
Um, talk about your campus a little bit, and yeah, talk about your campus, your college.
Um, so the way my college works is that I think, there's five um, physical campuses, and then we have our online campus. My campus, it's Southeast campus. It's we just got construction done. I think that our campus is very nice. Our campus is very lively. Um, and then the faculty and staff of our campus kind of really make the magic, right? Um, I think there's a lot of stuff so our school doesn't get as much funding as the other schools just because we have less, I guess, students. And also the area that we're in, like where the tax goes and everything. But we make a lot happen, right? So the way again, like I think we have the most student participation. Our school never has trouble finding those students that are engaged and just ready to volunteer and help in whatever way they can. Um, and I think like I know right now we have um a football club, and something that I've seen happen with that club is that a lot of people that are on the academic suspension are interested in the club, but because they want to be able to play, because it's a no pass, no play rule, they're starting to put more effort in their classes.
Mm.
A lot of students feel comfortable with a lot of our staff, and I think that the environment that they have built is definitely a lot better than some of the others. I see people come to our campus like, um, oh my gosh, this is like so much better than this other campus. And not to dog on them either, but like I might be a little biased, but I think that our campus has a lot that makes it great. Even with um we have stuff where it's like outside of our control that can definitely set us back. We're able to maneuver around those things.
Awesome. Would you like to talk about your PTK chapter, shout them out, talk about your experience?
Um, I think so. Our chapter, I forgot the number, but I think it was like 31%, something like that. We were able to gain more members, like kind of like, so we're up than what we were last year. So the number we got last year, let's say it was like 100, right? We got a lot more that signed up now. We're very engaged. We also work a lot with our dual credit students, or I mean our early college students, well, both. Because a lot of our early college students also take classes on the physical campus. And so we invite them to a lot of our events. We participate, we definitely show up. Um, yeah, and in our college project in HIA, I think that's something that we really see um, a lot of growth in. I know that we always work together. Like if someone can't do something, then someone else is ready to pick up the slack. And I think that though, especially our officer team, we're very comfortable with each other. I remember we had a potluck at our president's house and we were just sitting on his trampoline and making jokes. There's like a whole thing with one of our unicorn, with like one of our members and like a unicorn. And we like it's just great. I know like other people from other chapters have noticed that our chapter eats a lot. And I don't know if that's just because most of the things we can do in Arlington is eat. But every time we like do something, we go get food. We go get food, we do something. I don't know how that works, but I think my chapter is very great, very special.
Awesome. So, do you want to talk about your college project or HIA? Is there anything that stands out about that?
Mm, So our college project, we did guided pathways, which is like arts and humanities, business and industry, stuff like that. And Texas implemented like the official names for them that like colleges use. And our main goal was like for students to know what the pathways were and what fell under the pathways, right? Because let's say I want to go into nursing, but maybe I start my clinicals or I take some nursing specific classes and I'm like, actually, I don't really like this, but I still want to go into healthcare. I could probably see like, oh, what other options do I have and what options TCC has under the healthcare pathway. And that was our main goal, right? We invited people from different campuses um, and different departments to kind of show students what other options we have. I know it's one thing to be like, oh, yeah, there's this pathway, but also there's a career that we offer. For example, like for business and industry, we have welding. We have our education program. We have like different things also in healthcare. I know we have nuclear medicine. So if a student knows that, then they're like, oh, maybe that's something I'm I can look into if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing right now, or I'm not sure about what I'm doing right now.
Oh,
And
cool.
then
Mhm.
I'm trying to think. And our honors in action was what I think it was like what aspects of stories spark social change?
Mhm.
That was our research question. Um, and I think that was theme six.
Yeah.
Um, and so we basically just looked into like, for example, we looked into Fred Rouse. Um, and he is this guy that got lynched in Fort Worth. Um, Only known case, I believe. And the reason why that was so important to our project was because it was this story about this man that got lynched
Mhm.
in Fort Worth. Um, that a PhD in transatlantic history, a professor at our school. He grew up, lived in Fort Worth, didn't know about it. He heard this story, and then once he heard this story, that sparked him to reach out to Fred Ross's grandson, and then they founded a it's called the Tarrant County Coalition for Peace and Justice to found that. And then they're currently building a memorial on the property that Fred Ross was lynched on. And so that played like a fundamental role in our project. Um, and then we also hosted an event. It was Use Your Voice Roundtable, I believe it was called, where students could come and then share their stories. And then we surveyed them, and then we used those on our actual write-up.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
Mhm.
those two projects. Hmm. I thought about nuclear medicine. I'm pretty sure Sky Danhoff is studying that.
Oh, really? That's funny.
That's pretty cool. I wouldn't know what that is if I didn't meet them. So that's pretty
Mm.
cool. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to ask one. We talked about scholarship a good amount, but I think I'll ask one more question and then we'll move along to leadership. Let's see. Oh, there's a good question. Maybe I don't have anything. Honestly, well, we talked about this one. I think I've asked this every single time, but what study habit actually works for you?
Works for me. Um, so okay, when I was going into college, I did not study. I didn't study in high school. But what I found really worked was um listening to okay, it's called priming, where you read the slides, read the book, watch the videos before going to class on that topic and taking notes, whatever you need to do. And then in class, you're essentially reviewing what you had just learned. And that has helped me so much in actually understanding what's going on in class and also what's understanding what when I'm taking tests um to actually know the answer. Um so priming definitely helped me a lot. Right now what I started using was um I used Notebook LM where I put all the materials um the book chapters, readings, all those things. And then and then you can use the features on there to make flashcards, videos, a podcast, a mind map. Mind maps work for me a lot. And to kind of visualize certain things. And it saves me a lot of time, especially with all the stuff I'm a part of on campus. I think I did mention where I had 5 club meetings that one Friday or something. So, um, I think because I'm saving that time, I'm able to focus on actually studying and learning the material instead of creating the things that are going to help me study and learn the material.
Okay. So, well, wait, this sounds crazy, but I think this is the best answer anyone's gave for that one, or my
Oh,
favorite one
really?
so far. Yes. I mean, yeah, that's that was a real, I mean, oh, now something Disney, everyone else. No, everyone else had great answers, guys. But that sounds like a study ta habit that,
Yeah.
I mean, some people might have heard of it. I feel like, yeah, I feel like I might have heard of it, but I didn't know fully what it was. That's great though. I mean, hey, that could be useful for anyone. Any,
Yeah.
what do you do when they don't? No, I'll go to ask. What do you do when they don't upload the material before, so you can't prime yourself?
Well, a lot of them have the book. Um, you can also I know for my chapter on or for my quiz on cannabis, I uploaded that those things and then my professor actually had a couple articles and I think a book about cannabis in the context of what we were learning in history. So I added those as well. So it's also you don't necessarily if your professor I know I had professors my government professor, he did not have slides. He just wrote on the board
Mm.
on the top of his head, just with the marker, erase, write. So he didn't have slides. But I could based on what we were learning. So let's say we were learning about checks and balances. Okay, what's something else I can find that talks about similar things? It just the internet is a great resource.
Sounds like it. I've never heard of the internet, so I wouldn't know.
Right,
But
right.
Um, no, I love when you're mentioning the website or the thing you use. It sounds like a TikTok ad. It's like, you guys know know about
Oh
no.
my gosh, I love doing that to my friends. Like just like randomly, like I'll like be like, what was it like? Oh, if you use HelloFresh, you can get, I don't know, like what, something, something.
Yeah,
Like trying to sound like an ad.
yeah,
But,
you did great right there. It sounded like a
mhm,
crazy ad, but so moving along, those that was great. You talked a lot about scholarship, and I think you exemplified that hallmark well, honestly.
thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, of course. So moving along to leadership. Hmm. Again, I think it's a question I ask every time, but I love the question. How do you lead when you feel overwhelmed?
Mhm. Okay, so I think when I do tend to feel overwhelmed, I kind of I kind of start to not to say I don't care about people's feelings, but I forget that um my intentions are different than how someone can perceive them. So I do try to kind of like be more calm in my approach because um therefore it like levels out, if that makes sense. Um I think I kind of just try to delegate if I'm overwhelmed. Um so like for example, if like there's an event that I'm planning for SGA or that I'm helping plan, fill out paperwork for, and I'll just be like, wait, I'll take a second and I'll be like, hey, and then I'll go to the events committee and I'll tell the chair, I'm like, hey, we're doing this event. Can you finish, filling out the paperwork, right? Um, so I think my main thing of feeling overwhelmed is just that I'm doing things that I don't have to do, which I know isn't the case for everyone that feels overwhelmed. Um, and I think I'm glad to be in an environment with like friends who understand if I have to cancel or if like I know like even with my chapter, um, as Texas Regional President, sometimes I can't always be there. It hasn't happened a lot, but like when I have to go for a conference, um, I won't, like for example, next week, I won't be there next week. So whatever we do next week, um, I trust that my team can fill me in if they need to, and that they're supportive of the fact that I can't be there. Um, and so it just helps create that balance of I don't have to necessarily feel overwhelmed with whatever we're working on for that time, but my team is also very supportive of the fact that I can't help them as much as I want to.
Yeah, I think it's that makes sense. Um, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But I feel like similar for me in that last part you were talking about, especially with us running for IO. I think my other clubs have been understanding, or not other clubs, but old clubs have been understanding
Mhm.
about, oh, I have less time to delegate to the club. I mean, I still give my all to older clubs for sure, but they're more understanding and they're not like begging me to do something because they're like, well, if I
Mhm.
can do it, then I'll do it. But
Yeah.
so I think that's been super nice thing about my clubs as well, especially in PTK because they're the main witnesses of seeing what I do for this. So moving on to next question. What's your leadership style? The original question is, what's your leadership style in one sentence? But I want to open up to two sentences. I-
Okay.
or as long as you want. It doesn't matter. It can be one sentence.
Okay. I'll try to keep it two sentences.
Okay.
My leadership style is adaptive leadership because I change my style based on the group setting that I am in. For example, for my SGA team, I have to be more firm, because that's how I guess, Robert's rules
Oh yeah.
um, naturally makes me have to act. But with PTK, um, I'm I have to be more, I would say, um, I don't know the exact word for it, but for the region, I have to be very like nice, very kind. I'm not gonna be like, hey, do this, right? I'll be like, for example, like when I'm writing the list for thank you cards, I'll ask them, I'll be like, who do you guys want to write to? Instead of just automatically assigning everyone whoever I feel they should write about. Case
Mm,
closed.
yeah, I got you. And I wrote this down earlier, but I forgot to ask. Talk about your experience with being a regional officer, regional president, you know?
So I think I was very lucky that my chapter had already been in that position. I think because of my background already, I came in as a strong candidate, and I wasn't perfect, obviously. I still did learn a lot in my term, but I think that I was able to adjust to things accordingly. Um, I know that there had been times where things don't always go as planned, and I had to kind of maneuver around that, guide my team through that. I know that sometimes it's hard to plan things around 6 people. The more people you have to plan around, the less options you have. Um, and I always try to pair my team up in a way that works best for everyone. Um, and I'm lucky that my team was already very easy to work with. We kind of already liked each other right off the bat. And honestly, I'm so glad that there hadn't been any like petty drama. Um, Nothing happened to where people are gonna leave and it's like, oh, thank God I'm not with so and so anymore. I think it was definitely a learning experience of like paying attention to detail and just realizing that. And I was always like, I think I conserve my energy. Um, so when things do get very high intensity, like in conferences, it doesn't really affect me as much as it would have if I didn't. So I'm very glad that I was able to build up that skill.
Yeah. So you feel like you do well under pressure?
Yeah,
I got you.
it's interesting. I have a thing where it's like I want everything to be perfect. Everything has to be perfect. But if nothing turns out perfect, oh well, whatever.
No, I'm the exact same way. I'm a big, big perfectionist. So people expect, oh, if something doesn't turn out perfect, I'll be going crazy. I mean, I might go crazy for 1 minute and then the next minute I'm like,
Mhm.
well, it's whatever. I mean, we tried our
Yeah.
best, you know?
For me, it's like if something goes wrong, it went wrong. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like fret too much about it.
Exactly, 100%. I'm the exact same way. But, obviously when we do have the chance, try to make it perfect, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm just like that too. So next question I'll ask you, how do you motivate members who feel disconnected?
From the chapter.
It could be any club.
Okay. Um, so I always say like I always try to be very straightforward. Like I remember there was a time where um this girl, she didn't feel like she wanted to continue in a club. And I told her, I was very honest with her. I was like, well, um, you can leave and this is what's gonna happen. This is, the options. And again, there was good and bad for both if she stayed or left. So just kind of talking through like what the problem is exactly. And she did end up staying. And um, it's those things where I always say like we have to, if we can't find a solution, then maybe the best option is to leave, right? Um, Not to say that you're gonna, it's kind of like you're not gonna be friends with everybody. And our campus, it has so many clubs and so many different types of people where um if one thing isn't working for you, then maybe try something else. Maybe it wasn't meant to be. I know in the chapter, I always say like you get you get what you put in. Um, so like you're probably not going to win a scholarship if you don't really participate in the meetings, or if you don't participate in the projects,
Mhm.
or if the chapter doesn't even know your like if we don't even know your name, right? Especially for the scholarships that require like an advisor recommendation letter. Um, it's kind of being honest about those things. And I know like so it's just like the whole point is growth, right? You want these people to be active, not because I personally don't care if they sign in or not, but because I want them to learn something, right? I want them to come out better than they were when they came in. And I think that I just kind of being honest about the two different sides of like, well, are you disconnected because the people that you're trying to connect with are the problem, or because the second the meeting's over, you leave?
Yeah. Huh. That's good. That's good. Wait, so oh yeah, so being straightforward, right? Is that was the answer, correct? All right, cool. All right. Mm, I like this one as well. What do you wish more leaders understood?
That not everyone has to cater to you.
Mm,
Um, I think that, and also to focus on the people that you're serving. I've ran into situations where decisions were made. Um, and for example, with the orientation, um, I got paid $1,000 in a year to do orientation, right? It was like a stipend. Um, but with the changes made by a committee, um, I get paid 500 a semester now to do, and the school has to do more orientations than before. And so it's like kind of, okay, so you're paying me less to do more. And I just wish that you would have at least asked us about it instead of going ahead to make that decision. Um, I think that sometimes you have to focus on, again, like who are you serving? Who are you trying to help? Um, and it's like, not to say I don't want to do it, but if I can only do so much, um, it's just, and you're stretching the department thin. Um, I really I really don't like that you did that, right? And it's also like, I don't like how sometimes people feel a sense of entitlement, right? I've met people who it's like you have to stand by the door to wait for them when it's like, I don't even do that for the president, right? So if I'm not doing it for the president of the campus, why do I have to do that for you? Please explain that to me, right? Um, so I hope that if I get in a position like that, people don't feel like, I guess, that sense of fear. Um, it's just I respect the person, not the position. That may be very harsh to say, but if you are acting in a way that negatively affects students, or the people of the company, or maybe in politics, right? Um, I'm sorry, but I don't really care for you, um, because you don't care for the people that you're trying to help or supposed to be helping.
No, I mean that completely makes sense. I agree with the person over the position. I feel like I'm like that too, but usually people are relatively good in the position they're in. So, but yeah, I 100% agree. If literally, yeah, literally exactly.
Yeah.
I'll add on to it,
Um,
but said perfectly.
everyone knows, or everyone knows that if like the board of trustees does something or implements something that I don't like, I'm gonna say it.
Mhm. Yeah. So, I think those are all the leadership questions I have for you.
Mhm.
Move along to service now.
Okay.
So, hmm, I've been asking this one and I love the answers. So, what impact do you want to leave behind?
I want to just make my community better. Um, I want to help people, like I know like homelessness is a big thing. Um, Especially when I get older, I want to dedicate a lot of time on trying to lessen homelessness. I think that people deserve a roof over their head. I think that especially like I know some people are like um I guess are quick to like victim blame, but I think that again like even if you drink and do drugs, it's like you still deserve a warm bed. And I know like at my college ministry, once a month on Saturdays, it's like they go to give like feed homeless people, like give them food, talk to them. It's funny, even like our youth pastor, he was like, "Hey, if I ever get homeless, can I live with you guys?" So I just think it's good, like they're people, right? So it's like, um, and people are interesting, right? So they're interesting. Um, their lives, probably weren't always like that, and um, how I really that's the biggest impact I want you to make is to um go out there and not be like when you like see someone asking for money, not like just look straight forward and act like they're not there. Um so because I'm sure it doesn't feel the best.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I resonate with that as well. I wish I had all the money in the world so I can just help everybody, because
Yeah.
sad, like even just talking about it, it just makes me sad. People that are just less fortunate in any type of circumstance, homelessness,
Hmm.
any other type of circumstance. I just wish I could help. I mean, I wish I could help
Yeah.
everyone. As you're saying, everyone has, their own story. Everyone's unique, and I think everyone has a place in this world. So,
I
in a good
agree.
way, that they can make a difference and
Hmm.
they deserve the opportunity. So, um, there's a question that says, what's a community issue you wish more people cared about? Would you say homelessness is yours, or is there another one?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I mean, like homelessness, domestic violence, district, even like gerrymandering is still a big thing, especially in Texas.
Oh,
I know like even like where I live, the lines are very interesting to look at, to say the least. Um, I mean, I can go on, there's a lot. I know like immigration, I think I would say that's a big thing. Um, I think I know when I was young, I had to kind of um not to put too much detail, but um I ran into like my family ran into immigration issues and that was not fun at all. And I
mhm,
was like 4 years old,
mhm,
right? So I think the realities of those things are just it's very horrific. Um and I think that more Americans should really take a look on what's happening and not be okay with, you know, kids in cages and people that um, are criminalized for just wanting to be better, right?
mhm,
Or to live better, especially with like the fact that a lot of like Latin America, a lot of our problems come from America imperialism. So you can't be mad at people whose problems stem from something that America caused. That's my main thing.
Yeah, I, I mean, you're definitely right, and I love that you mentioned, there are a lot of community issues that you know more people should care about because I feel like everyone. everyone. I don't know how to put this. Okay, I'm not really political, so I'm not even
Mhm.
the person to talk about this. But I feel like a lot of people choose the ones they want to talk about. I feel like I think every issue should get its own fair share, or like all be treated the same. Because, you know,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
there's every issue deserves its own, you know, stance. And
Yeah. I also think it's okay to admit that like you might not know the full story of a situation. Like there are things where it's like, oh, I would rather not speak on that because I know I don't know a
yeah,
lot about it.
that's basically me on everything. No.
Mhm.
I'm like, I can't speak on it because I don't know anything about it. And I
Mhm.
think I think more people should do that, honestly. Like I don't think people should like be more people should admit that because I feel like a lot of people don't do the deepest dive of research
Yeah.
before talking about something. They just talk about it. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think that's something important people should keep in mind to make sure they fully go in depth and look at every circumstance from different perspectives and every different perspective inside that circumstance. So,
Mhm.
okay. Another service question I'll ask from you is, hmm, okay. Yeah. What's a small service act that made a big difference?
I think when I volunteered for Special Olympics, um, I mean, I wasn't really doing much in the sense of like, didn't really make a big impact on how the event went, or how anything kind of, I
Yeah.
guess, the people. But I do think that um, seeing, like, getting to be in a space like that really did fuel a sense of service in me where because I love volunteering. I don't really do it to track my hours, but I'm sure I volunteered like probably like 100 hours since then, like a year-ish. But I just think that it's just those things where it's like the small things that matter, right? Like seeing so many people having fun and getting, like the smile on their faces. And like I remember even seeing someone that um like the players that do it internationally and like, oh my gosh, they were so good.
Mm.
It was volleyball, I think. Yeah. So like they were so good. And the people I was with too, like we all just really enjoyed that. And I'm glad that and I would have done it more, but then COVID happened
Um,
after. But I'm glad that I at least got to experience it before. Um, and every time I like volunteer, I think of that. I think of like that moment, I guess like that first moment.
yeah. That's awesome. I saw a TikTok. So I would, if you didn't mention, well, if I didn't see that TikTok, I wouldn't even know what you're talking about. But that's
Hmm.
the thing, and I love that they have something like that, and it's awesome. And I want to go. I want to do that too now. I want to volunteer at one of those. I need to find that because I thought that was super beautiful. People volunteering, helping that out. So, um, another question I'll ask. Yeah. Who inspires your service mindset if you have someone that does?
Um, Not to get like ultra religious, I guess, but Jesus. Um, to me, it's kind of like the concept of um what would Jesus do and helping people, helping people that I'm like, you know, these are people that he loves, right? And I can only love him as much as I love the people that he loves. So if I love them enough to do things for them, um, and also just to kind of show that it's not like there's more to Christianity than the hate in especially with like early America. I think that um, I believe that everyone should be free to be who they are, believe what they believe. And if that contradicts what I believe and who I am, then that has nothing to do with me. I don't really care for it. I just know that I'm going to help people to the best of my ability, because Jesus would too.
Beautiful. That was beautifully said. Good job. Um, yeah, I love that answer. That was really good. So, um, honestly, I think that's all for the service questions. Yeah, I think you another again. I feel like you reflect service really well as well. So, great job. Yeah. So, next questions are fellowship questions. So, first question I'll start with is, what's your favorite PTK memory? Oh, you muted. Did I mute you? That's it. I said mute. There you go. I think.
Okay, that was weird. But I think my favorite PTK memory was when we went to go eat after our, I think it was our spring induction a year or two ago. Um, I think I've mentioned this before, but I had I didn't really get to experience the induction itself because I was doing stuff backstage.
Mhm.
Um, but it was fun getting to like meet new people and hang out with the people like my friends. Um, and it was a surprise. I didn't know that Dr. Lynn was there. Um, so I just kind of met her and I was like, oh, hey, I don't know who this lady is. We were just reserving a table. Um, so I guess also getting to learn more about PTK, because she was there. I think at that point I had just been a member, so I didn't really understand a lot. And then I got to meet our president or our former president there. She's amazing. Um, so I think a lot stemmed from that night.
Oh, and that was like how long have you been in PTK before that?
Um, I think I had just been a member that semester.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
And how long ago was that?
Probably I think like a year ago,
Okay.
two, maybe a year and a half.
Okay, cool. Would you like to talk about your experience at you went to Catalyst, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what was your experience at Catalyst?
Um, so I actually didn't know what to expect. I know it was like a big event, but I had only been to one PTK event prior to that. I knew that I was going as a new regional officer, so it was interesting. Like I remember having to we had sat down to eat as a chapter, and it took a minute for the food to actually get to us. And by the time the food got to us, I had to go because I guess we had to practice the flag, like when they were like the flag bearing and stuff.
Mhm.
So I scarfed down some of my food, and then me and my friend, or like me and the former regional officer, we had like just booked it to the convention center. So it was interesting being there as a regional officer. Um, I know there was times where I had to not miss out, but like I remember when one of I think it was like the campaigning marketplace times, like those freer sessions, we were taking headshots. Um, but I just really liked it. I really liked getting to hear the different speakers. I really enjoyed everyone's different perspective. Um, my favorite personally was Miguel Cervantes because I'm a big Hamilton fan and just his story was very touching. I really just enjoyed that one was my favorite. And also my chapter. I love spending time with my chapter. Um, I remember we had the first conference I had went to, any free time we had, we were practicing something. Someone was practicing their speech. I was practicing my campaign speech. That night at the hotel, or like every night at the hotel, we were practicing our skit. So it was like work 24/7 at that conference. So having to getting to experience something like that was just very refreshing.
That's fun. I'm excited for Catalyst this year. Are you as well?
Yes, I'm very excited. You should be excited. I know this is your first one, I think, right?
I don't know what to expect. The only thing I've been to was Honors Institute, but I was also like sick the most
Oh,
of the time,
really?
so I barely got to experience it. But I'm excited for Catalyst. I'm especially excited for just the spring conference
Mhm.
because or the spring convention because hopefully I can speak there. So and I get to meet a lot of people. So mm, let's see. Another question I'll have for you, or yeah, have for you is what advice would you give to a new member?
I would give them honestly, I kind of saw this ever since the divisional summit, but I would give them the PTKs like a gym, like going to the gym, or like a gym membership where you get what you put into it, as I mentioned. Um, and I also like to elaborate on that, where like you the skills you learn in PTK can help you outside of PTK and outside of college and university. So like I know like for us, it's like we do this undergraduate research. And for my career field, um, I'm gonna do a lot of research, right? So it's preparing and also a lot of writing,
Mm,
and PTK has a lot of writing. So I think it definitely has prepared me for those things, especially if I want to pursue a doctorate. Well, for my doctorate. Um, so, and also with like the different edge programs, I always tell people like, even if you don't win a scholarship, like for example, like I haven't, like I think I've only gotten like one scholarship or something, but like when I didn't have a scholarship, it was like, um, I still got my money's worth. Like all the conferences I've been to, all the um pro programs I've learned from, all like the projects I've done, gain experience from. And like even with like being a regional officer, I get so much out of that. I'm going to the I think I know Jose mentioned this last time, the TCCTA, the Texas Community College Teachers Association, like we have a panel there, and we're gonna do tabling there, right? That's not something that anyone can just do. So I think really putting yourself out there, um, because the opportunities are endless.
100%. I I think everyone is starting to say the EPTK is what you get, what you put into it. And I remember when Elijah came to our leadership conference, he started off with a riddle. He's like, what's something the more you put in, the more you get out? The first thing that came to my mind was life. But uh, eventually, when he came back with the answer, he said PTK, which I definitely agree with. And, I think the edge programs are super important. And, what I tell people is that, the $80 I put in, I've gained so much experience, especially, and then, the trips I've been on, it costs more than $80 to go on any of those trips. So,
Definitely. Even Catalyst, that's like more than $90.
yeah, Callus is crazy. So, you know, just all those experiences is definitely worth, just the simple $80 that you would put
Mhm.
into it. And, you can make it what you want it to be. You know, obviously we're doing the most we can going for the international office. So I love that PTK gives that second chance to people because, when I came to community college, I'm like, I felt like the end of the road and I didn't know what I wanted to study. I was just directionless. But when I learned about PTK and the music technology department and all the amazing faculty and staff at Calhoun,
Mhm.
I learned that I can make something out of this and make
Yeah,
it even better than where I would have ended up in a 4-year institute, honestly. I know if I went to 4-year institute, I would have got in depth, not learned something I would have wanted to learn. I wouldn't have found the music technology department because the music technology department of Calhoun is literally better than half the universities around here. It's not even close in comparison.
Yeah, I agree. I know like I definitely was a jack of all trades going into community college. Like I I think I was in band, I did theater, I took welding, I was in law enforcement, I did XYZ, just because I wanted to. And then when like I graduated, I was like, but what did I do? Like I didn't really do anything. Um, like yeah, I was part of this, but there like
Hmm.
it was kind of like there wasn't any fruit to what I
Okay.
had done. Um, and then when I got to community college, it was kind of like a 180 where it's like I finally figured out what I wanted to do. And then also I found a community of people that were just so, I think that's why fellowship is a big thing in our chapters. Like the people around me really motivated me and made me realize that like there was more to me than what I had was. I think coming in, I was very like, oh, what's the point of doing anything if there's always going to be someone better? But um my chapter and my like the other people at my community college made me realize that that doesn't matter. That's not stopping you from doing anything.
Yeah, 100%. I know sometimes that mindset of someone, I've talked to a lot of friends that they're like, oh, there's going to be someone better. But in reality, there's always going to be someone better, usually,
Mhm.
But, your perspective is unique and you'll think of stuff that the other person, I mean,
Mhm.
there's things that will set everyone apart and makes it worth pursuing, It's, it would be boring if there wasn't someone better than you,
Yeah.
you would become complacent in a sense.
I saw an anime that was like, so the main villain, I guess, his whole thing was he wanted to find someone that was a worthy competitor, but everyone he would compete with was really boring to him.
Yeah.
So,
What anime?
it's called Skate the Infinity.
Okay. Okay. I don't know it. I don't know it. That reminds me of the Puss in Boots movie. I mean, the death guy, he kind of did the same thing, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
So you watch the movie, right? The Puss in Boots with the guy,
Mhm.
the death guy. He fought Puss in Boots until he realized that, oh, he actually, will take advantage of the one life he has.
This is very embarrassing. I loved Puss in Boots so much as a kid. I watched the interactive like movie thing on Netflix multiple times.
What do you mean? There's an interactive
It
movie?
was like an interactive, like, yeah, like you could pick the story.
I know what you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. Dang, see, Puss in Boots is fire though, low key.
Mhm.
I I saw a TikTok that was using one of my favorite artists' songs to Puss in Boots. Uh,
Like an edit.
yeah, it was edit. And ever since I saw the TikTok, I've been listening to that song so much more, and I love it so much more just because that edit. I mean, it changed how I thought about the song. So
Mhm.
I think it's I think Puss in Boots. I want to rewatch the movie. Then I was like, low key, I've seen so many TikTok clips of it, and I think I actually rewatched that movie before. So
Your
I'm like,
TikTok, yeah.
there's no reason for me to rewatch it for like a third time.
Mhm.
It's a good movie though. So I think we'll ask one more fellowship question, then move on to deep reflection, then finish it up. So, I mean, we've already talked about fellowship in a overall very well, but let me make sure let's see if there is a question. What's the best way to feel like a real community? I make nutrition. Uh, you mentioned, well, this question asks, what's a fun tradition your chapter has? But you mentioned going to eat would be yours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Typically after like every induction or something, we go eat.
Okay, cool. Um, I think this is the question I'll ask, which is, what helped you feel welcome in PTK?
Definitely my friends. I had already like surrounded myself with a lot of PTK members. Um, and like even like where I in the department that I used to work in, um, they would a lot of PTK members would always be in there, like PTK, SGA. And so I think just already having that pre-comfortability and then motive and then them encouraging me to join PTK, even like during my first semester of college. So I was already going in with that sense of comfortableness and like um familiarity.
Hmm. For sure. That's awesome. Lucky. At my school, I have to go search out the people that are in the clubs, you know?
That's funny.
Yeah. So, moving on to our final section, which is deep/reflection questions. Let me find a good one for you. Let's see if I can find something new. This is not new, but it's still a good question I want to ask. What's one fear you're actively fighting?
Um, I think I just think the fear of um I think like fear of failure, but in the sense of like everything that I'm doing doesn't will amount to anything. But I kind of think I kind of gotten over that because when I told people like, I think I'll just go to this university, everyone's looking at me like, are you serious? Like, what do you mean? Like, and it's just like to me, I'm like, but that's just like easier than to like try to like go to because I know that I'll like when I apply to this university, I know I'll get in. I'm already familiar with the area. I live 7 minutes away from the university. So, and honestly, it's like a guarantee that I'll get in, you know. But I feel like, um, oh, if I apply to like these really big name schools or like these really fancy out-of-state schools, that's um those are more harder to get into. But my main thing was like, I don't want to deal with like the whole living situation. So I'll probably just go to the local one. Like, yeah, I'm still applying to like other schools, but honestly, there's, I just think everything's gonna work out in the end. So I kind of am getting over that fear of failure.
Yeah, I think, the mindset that helps me, uh, not fear failure is everything happens for a reason. That's
Hmm.
the quote that's driven my life in its entirety. And if there's like this, if I can choose one quote, it'd be that one. And
Hmm.
all the failures in life build you into who you are. They say God gives his strongest battle to his like strong soldiers. So, the failures that when you do get failures, it turns into something better. Like
Hmm.
me, so many things that I looked at as failure at the time end up becoming something so much better. When one door closes, another one opens. So I think you don't have to be worried about failure. No, I'm just kidding. Easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
But and also I thought about I've had the same fear about like all the things that I'm doing like doesn't amount to anything. I thought I when you mentioned that I was like I've had that thought before, but I know if I how I
I
look at
just think like for me, it feels like when I first was, I guess, starting to do a lot of things, my whole thing was like, I have to do enough, right? Like, I have to do enough that I stand out in these scholarships and these applications. Um, like, but then, or like, that was, I guess, like my main thing. And because of that, I really did overwhelm myself a lot. And it was just because, like, coming out of high school, it was like, um, I lost a scholarship that I shouldn't have lost. Like point blank period, I could have won, right? So it was like, oh, I'm like next time I'm going to I'm going to like actually put in the effort. But I think just kind of like that just I guess like that feeling just didn't sit right and it wasn't helping me at all.
hmm, yeah, that makes sense. Interesting. All right. I think I'll ask one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Mm, hmm. I haven't asked this one yet. And I don't know if it's a good. Actually, no, I'll ask this one. Actually, let me think about this one. I want to ask a good one.
To answer your question from before, I think I'll call my album or the album of my life, um, Make It Last
Okay.
because um growing up and I've always had the mindset of like I'm not gonna be a kid forever. I'm not gonna be in college forever. I'm not gonna live with my parents forever. So it's just kind of like embracing like for example, like I my big thing was embracing being a kid, right? I don't want to act like I'm older than what I am. Um, I know that college is only temporary, so I'm gonna make it last. I'm gonna make it worth the time I'm spending. And the same goes for like the next place I'm at and the next stage of life that I enter.
I think that's a great answer. And I think it's something that a lot of people miss, you know. I look at it as presence, being present in the moment of your life that you're in. And it's hard when you have so much stuff going on. It makes life very fast paced.
Yeah,
So for us especially, it's important to remember, take
slow
a breath.
down.
It's like a slow down, literally. Like that's one thing I would tell, like that's one thing I tell to high schoolers. If I had
Mhm.
some advice, I'm like, really make sure you take advantage of the time and have, well, actually, to middle schoolers for sure, have fun. Like anyone under in middle school or under, like they should be having fun. You know, and high school, definitely be focused on the stuff you're doing, but also, that's one of the times you'll have some fun and it won't cost you as much as it would now in the real world. Once you go to college. So that's advice I would give to someone. Um, I still didn't choose what question I want to ask you last, but okay, I'll ask you this one. If you don't want to answer this one, you don't have to. I'll try to ask a different question. But what's a lesson college taught you outside the classroom? This is a good question.
I think reality. Um, I know that especially in like the sphere that I'm in, it taught me realities of, I guess, the way of the world. Um, and it's like I'm seeing things and I'm hearing things on a business side of a university and college.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, because of that, I'm seeing all the things where it's like things that aren't as sunshine and rainbows, right? Um, Now, don't get me wrong. I still love community college and I still think community college is um, great. But I think there's those things where it's like just because things are good doesn't mean they can't be better, right? So just learning that that's just problems that, problems that I have to deal with going into education, especially like higher education. And that's, I just have to make it work. I can, either be mad about it or I can try to do something to fix it, right? So I think that those are things that my community college has definitely taught me. Um, but it's also like I know that my community college does things that I am very proud of. My community college does things that I'm not so proud of, right? So it's just understanding that that's the way with almost everything in life. Um, and I know that my college is definitely taking a step forward.
Awesome. Well, that's a great um answer, but also a great way to end this Hallmark Hits. So thank you for taking the time to talk to me and, let everyone know about yourself. It was very good to get to know you. And, thank you so much for being a part. Of
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
course, of course. So thank you guys for listening to Hallmark Hits. And that's all for today. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.